I decided to take on Hotline Miami 2 for the Platinum. This game is twice as big as the first game. It has double the enemies, double the bullets, double the map size, and most importantly, double the headaches. This game sits at about a 6 out of 10 difficulty and requires 3 playthroughs. Step 1, as always, is just play through the game and try to get all the miscellaneous trophies. Then, step 2 is playing through the game once again and trying to A+ all the levels. Finally, I then have to play through the game in hard mode, and that will net me the beautiful Platinum trophy. The key difference with this game compared to the first one is you play a wide variety of characters, each of them having unique play styles, but also requiring you to adapt and overcome to many different challenges, because each one can only do certain things compared to the first game where it was the same style over and over again. Right off the bat, I got my first trophy, which is the nuclear waste, for knocking over 5 cardboard cutout signs in this level. I actually got this by accident without even trying. Assassin's Creed was next on the agenda, and it's a fun little nod to the Assassin's Creed series, which is one of my all-time favorite video game series ever, and hopefully the Assassin's Creed Shadow game coming out, it will actually be somewhat decent. But to get this, you have to complete a floor with the silencer only. Fantastic and Fanatic trophies are the next ones I decided to get, and this requires you to unlock all the fans and play as all of them on each level. Who are the fans, though, you're probably asking? Well, the game has a small squad of 5 players you get to play as. Corey's my least favorite, but she can do this. Tony is my personal favorite, and his punches everything. Alex and Ash is a dynamic duo, brother and sister, with a chainsaw and pistol. Mark starts with 2 guns, and, well, he can do this cool thing. Overall, they are a cool gang, and I wish they were more involved in the story. However, unfortunately, not as much, because they take on too much they can handle during the Death Wish chapter. Just like the first game, you do have to get a bunch of combo chain, and I got these situations in a variety of different spots, but looking back, the best area is Mark during his Death Wish chapter, as there's a lot of enemies on the screen to get this. After the fans, we press on to a new style of story, and another character you get to play as is Beard from the first game, or as he's called, the Soldier. His missions take place in a Vietnam-era style in Hawaii. This is also where you get some backstory into the game, as Jacket and Beard served in the same unit together. And the very photo in the first game that he pulls out and makes drift away in the sunset is taken right here at this scene. You see, the Soldier is different compared to other characters. He has a variety of weapons that you get to pick at the start of each level, and unlocking all of them will get you a trophy, which comes naturally, but the only useful one that you need to know about and worry about is the flamethrower. It will be very pivotal in my success towards an A+ run and the hard mode playthrough. Snake Charmer and Snakes on a Head are next on the agenda, and you get these by playing as Jake. Who is Jake, you ask? Well, Jake is a big dude with a colorful background. He shaved his head at the start, has a Confederate flag in his apartment. You get these trophies by unlocking all his masks, which he only has 3, and playing as each one. The first one makes your throws lethal, which is honestly pretty useless in this game. Another one, you start with a nail gun, which is kind of fun, I'm not going to lie. It's silent and good. And another lets you use your fists and go Kung Fu Panda on people. Jake doesn't last long, though, unfortunately, just like the fans, and meets a swift end. Another unique character I haven't talked about is Evan. He is a writer trying to tell the events from the last game into a book. Keyword trying. He has a special playstyle where he knocks people out, and he doesn't kill unless you force him to. He is meant to be played in a style of knocking people out, and he also has the ability of picking up guns and basically unloading them. At first, I hated his playstyle, but I grew to love it as it felt really cool doing this. On the subway level, you have to beat the gang leader without having him alert his guards. If he sees you, he bangs his lead pipe on the ground and attracts all the guys, which actually makes the level pretty easy, to be honest. And it's really not that hard, just sneak up on him and hit him with a crowbar. Richter is another character you get to play as, and if you might remember Richter in the events of the first game, well, he was the assassin that took out Jacket and made him go into the coma. Richter doesn't really have a lot of unique trophies, however, he has a unique backstory, and it honestly makes you understand where he's coming from, as he does these hits and assassinations to take care of his dying mother. The last main character we play as is the Sun, who is, well, the Sun from the mob bus in the first game. The Sun is trying to build back his empire that Jacket literally crippled them in the events of the first game. The Sun is kind of like Jake, where he has 3 unique playstyles. One lets you dodge roll and you have a katana, which is a nod to the bodyguard in the first game. The other lets you use fists and makes them lethal, again, my personal favorite, as always. And the last one lets you dual wield some MP5s. Unlocking all his playstyles will get you the what you leave for your sons, which you just naturally get this from playing the game. The Sun's 4 levels offer all unique challenges, but honestly, the Lethal Fists make them all pretty easy. These are done to grow his power back from taking out an enemy faction, getting money from robbing a big bank, with the last level having him storm a literal outpost to take out almost 100 guards and confront the enemy head-on, and letting his goons do the rest for him. The Sun is then just sitting in his crib and enjoying his victory. However, there's still one more level we have to beat, and it has the Sun taking too many of his own drugs, which causes him to go on a drug trip and unfortunately killing everything he's worked for. So all the work building up his empire is ended by him, and he walks off hit this building to his end. With the last scene played, I unlock 1-800 cleared for beating the game finally. This is probably where a lot of players stop playing, but this is where the real trophy hunt begins. Before starting the A+ playthrough, I decided to clean up some random trophies, such as finish a level without using guns. Another easy one is you get in the tutorial for literally listening to the director. I have no idea how I did not get that my first time playing. Got Your Back requires you to play as Ash and Alex, and during a chainsaw execution, you have to shoot 2 enemies. Yeah, just spam the fire button, you'll get this. You can also farm Precursive Maintenance here, where you have to destroy 100 electronics. I had my eyes on what I thought was an easy trophy, which is Don't Let Anger Get the Best of You. This has me playing as Evan and clear all his levels without killing, which should come naturally because he's not meant to kill people. You're supposed to play him by just knocking out people. It's pretty easy, except one of his levels is a secret level. To unlock the Abyss level, it's almost like one of those old school multi-chain quest levels like World of Warcraft. This requires you completing a small amount of tasks, so I set out to do just that. You have to collect a floppy disk as the detective from Jake. The problem is, Jake has to unlock a secret scene to collect this disk, which can only be done in one level. Withdrawal is a unique level. It's the last level you get to play as Jake, as normally you get to the last scene and you're supposed to let Jake get hit, and unfortunately he gets dragged away and executed by the mobsters. However, to unlock the Abyss level, you have to beat this entire scene without dying. And if you do get hit, guess what? You have to restart the entire level over again. Well, I buckled up and went to work. After 4 attempts, I beat Withdrawal and got this special unique cutscene. In order to get the disc, you basically just have to spam the collect button in order to grab it. Otherwise, you have to redo it again. And I failed the objective successfully. Collected the disc a second time with the detective, which sent me Stare into the Abyss trophy for unlocking the Abyss. But we still have to play it as Evan. The Abyss is a big and weird level, with Evan basically going to have a nice little chit-chat with all the masked character entities. Overall, it's a fun level, but requires a lot of bait tactics, a lot of corner peeking, and some plain luck in order to beat it. But I got it, and Don't Let Anger Get the Best of You is done on the list. With that one done, I decided to go back and just use all the Sun's techniques for the family business, another easy one. I then locked my eyes on a box full of sharp objects, which is kind of like the last game where you have to use every weapon in the game. I know for a fact I used all the guns, so let's look at the melee list. Okay, nothing crazy. Wait, a glass bottle? Where is that at? Apparently, the glass bottle is found on one level, on one screen. I'm pretty sure we all walked past it. Let me show you. Did you see it? Let's go back and actually grab it. Well, I got the bottle and I use it, and that should be the trophy. So why didn't it pop? I went back through the list and double checked it again, and I know for a fact I used every weapon, so that means this trophy is glitched. And my platinum run might be over. I didn't quit there though. I decided to do some digging to find an answer. Saw one where I had to reset my save file, which that is just a lot of work I'm pretty sure I did not want to do, delete the game and re-download, and another where you just keep redoing the requirements until eventually it pops again. I actually started to get worried here because usually when people recommend all that, it means they don't really have an answer and they just keep trying something until eventually it works. But then, after 2 hours of digging and reading and trying to find an answer, I stumbled on an old Reddit post from 3 years ago and found out the taser might be the reason. You see, the taser is a weapon found on these big detective dudes. They only spawn on 2 levels, Final Cut and Caught. Apparently, the actual registration only counts in Final Cut, so I loaded up the level and hoped this would work. And just like that, I got this slightly glitched trophy, which apparently the guide is wrong. Oh yeah, just because you die a lot in this game, I also got the karma trophy where you have to die 1,000 times. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. You'll get this trophy naturally, I promise. The Bar of Broken Heroes was next, and it requires you answering a phone as Evan and taking a different route to meet up with Biker. It's a nice little nod as it has all the characters you play as and a bar just chilling. Next up on the Toto list is getting the big picture. This has you, instead of collecting these little tiny little pixels, they decided to go for something a little bit easier, picking up and reading newspapers scattered about the story. I had to follow a guide for this, but it wasn't nothing too hard, and I got it. With all the miscellaneous trophies done, I set my eyes on A+ing all the levels just like the last game. This personally is the hardest trophy, but I have to put myself through this to get 1-800 goddamn. In order to A+ a level, your score has to be double the score of recommended and sometimes a little bit more over that. Just like the last game, your score is added up at the end of the level. However, in this game, keeping a big combo is the key. This trophy literally pushed me to my limits and requires you to master every level, such as memorizing enemy spawn placements. You have to keep moving on your feet so you don't lose your combo, and oftentimes I had to redo levels again. I'll give you a brief rundown of each level and how it went personally. Down Under is pretty easy, just don't stop moving. Homicide, same thing, don't stop moving. Hard News, it's a little hard, but looking back, just always use the Lethal Fist mask. Final Cut, this can be hard, learning to bait, and you have to corner peek. First Trial, anytime you play as Evan, you have to take out all guards and pick up all weapons and unload them all. This is where you might see a slight difficulty tweak. Moving up, pick Tony, always pick the Lethal Fist option if you can. No Mercy, this level gave me a really hard time at the start, and honestly, I think the hard version of it was actually quite easier. Execution, Tony the Tiger, always pick him. Keep the combo going and corner peek by baiting. Ambush, the first soldier mission, and honestly the easiest. Always pick the flamethrower as it has a long range and has a slight AoE effect, and it also can go through enemies. Into the Pit. I used Action Alice for this one, but looking back, Tony would also work too. Try to attract cards and keep the lookout for those dogs. Dead Ahead. This is the second hardest level to A+ for me. The first scene is absolutely brutal, and just try to find a system to get by. Just use weapons as much as you can and keep the combos going. Death Wish. Oh, Death Wish. I hate this level. In case y'all are new here, and sorry to interrupt the video, I'm trying to get my viewership hours up. That way I can get memberships and do cool things with y'all. Also, in case you're not aware, I also have a Twitch account as well, and I will be streaming on that probably by the time you see this video. I plan on doing much more streaming and making more videos. So, like, comment, and subscribe both channels, please. And give me a follow on Twitch. Subway. Yeah, Subway is pretty easy. Just hit everyone and unload all their guns. Stronghold, Flamethrower, get good at it and keep pressing on. That's what I had to do. Withdrawal, just pick the Lethal Fist option and go Kung Fu Panda on all these dogs. You do have to beat the third screen, so you cannot die. Casualties, the hardest soldier level, and it starts off with a long range level and then becomes a close quarters battle. You're going to have to do a lot of cheap tactics, and you're probably going to have a lot of cheap deaths as well during this run. First Blood, really not that hard, but you have to get a full combo, which means you have to have a full combo in the first screen, carry it over to the second screen, and keep it going. You have to have that full combo in the entire level. Demolition. This level I had to redo 3 times, and it also has the hardest start in the entire Hotline Miami franchise. It's very hard, and you're going to fail a lot, but eventually, hopefully, you'll get through. House Call is kind of hard, but requires a lot of peekaboo. Just use range weapons. Release. This level has the hardest boss fight and very grueling amount of skill and willpower to A+ it. I went in and came out with an S rank. My only advice I can give you is, I'm sorry you want to attempt this. Just know it'll be over soon. Caesar, Chezzer. Yeah, the hardest level to see in, and as always, pick the Lethal Fist. Always pick that. Blood Money, another level I had to redo 2 times to A+. You're going to be shooting a lot and trying to hit enemies off screen a lot. Caught. A little hard, but by now I had a good understanding of the game systems to A+ this level. And Takeover. The last level and very hard to A+. I picked the Lethal Fist option as always, and you have to have a firm understanding of the layout and enemy spawn placement. I have no idea how I got an S rank in this. Oh, What's that? You were expecting a trophy? Yeah, so was I. Apparently, the secret level, the Abyss, is required, and funny enough, I had an A-, so I had to go back and redo that one. Just play through the level, knock out all the dudes, pick up all the weapons, unload them, and you'll get the A+. With that done, I unlocked 1-800-GODDAMN. I stare at that screen for a good minute, and I finally understand that saying for the trophy. Little did I know that I had a much tougher challenge ahead of me. Before moving on, I want to explain to you why only 5% of people have platinumed this game. This game requires a lot of mental willpower, as you need to be quick, but also paying attention to multiple things on your screen, such as the combo meter, the ammo, and memorizing enemy placement. I would get literal headaches from trying to A+ levels and literally felt fatigued after some of the harder levels. That's why I stopped streaming this game. Also, the difficulty does not reflect the guide. It says 6 out of 10, but I honestly believe it's more like a 7, maybe even an 8, because the sheer amount of skill curve that you have to have in order to get the platinum is insane. But I pushed on because I wanted to be one of the few people who made the platinum video on this game, as so few people have done it, and it also might have something to do with all the copyright claims that you get by playing this game's amazing soundtrack. Now back to the last challenge, completing the game on hard mode. Hard mode has the levels inverted, the enemy layout is slightly remixed, and they have double the amount of numbers. Level design is altered with a single-minded goal of making it more difficult. There are more windows for enemies to take pot shots through or detect your presence. Enemies react noticeably faster, leading to some devs being completely inevitable. They will react quicker than you can on occasion. You'll just have to bite the bullet and accept cheap devs do exist in this game, especially here in hard mode. Now, there are some things that the guide actually does not mention that you will not know until you play hard mode. Anytime you pick up a weapon, the ammo for it is halved, meaning if you have a shotgun, you don't fire it, and there's a dog charging you, and you drop it to pick up a crowbar, use it to hit the dog, and now you have a big dude coming to charge you. You pick up said shotgun, instead of 3 bullets, now you have 1. So you have to conserve your ammo and make sure when you pick up that gun, you use every bullet. Additionally, the soldier levels. Remember in the normal game mode playthrough, you can actually collect ammo and reload your weapons? Yeah, you're stuck with the starting amount, and once you run out, that is it. Like, you are done. So you have to save your ammo for the big dudes. Otherwise, if you run out of ammo and you go against a big dude, you will always lose. And you have to restart the whole level again. Luckily, thank God, you don't have to A+ hard levels. You just have to beat them. So I sent out this task. After a long journey, I get to the last level, and once I beat Apocalypse, I'll have the platinum. Now you're probably saying to yourself, hold up, Kevin, aren't you forgetting something? And you're right, I am forgetting to mention one last trophy, which is killing 50,000 enemies. Yeah, this trophy, you will not get through normal means. A normal playthrough, you might get somewhere around 30%. That's like 15,000. This trophy is a literal grind, and I was slowly pecking away at it from doing this over and over and over again. This grind took me around 3, maybe 4 hours, depending on how fast I was. But we gotta do what we gotta do for this platy. And I did it. Thank God. Alright, back to the last level. I played through the last level and enjoy the scenes, and once I push this button and the credits roll, I'll finally be a Hotline Miami 2 Platinum holder and join the coveted 5%. I truly have no words for this platinum, and I'm glad it's over. Now I can move on to a new challenge.